around on that video. On the video, I was trying to like distance it from whatever the origin of the trouble was, and it wasn't working. So I was like, oh God, well, I better just shut it all down and start over. So here we are. Fuck. Man, I was just about to really get into that story too. Damn it. It's like trying to recapture the essence of the storytelling. That's why it's terrible when you listen to a podcast and someone's telling a story and the other people, or a radio show, and someone keeps interrupting. I think I used to actually do that. When someone would tell a story, I would constantly interrupt. Way distracting. It's terrible. You can't, you ruin the spell of the story. Well, anyway, I opened up the door of the dorm room, and there she was walking towards me. Now, who would have thunk that I would end up marrying this woman, damn it, and spending my life with her? I was like, in fact, I hated her. I was like, and she had that horrible laugh. At the time, I thought it was horrible. Now I think it's the greatest thing in the world. But at the time, it was so jarring to hear that. I was like, what is this thing walking towards me? This little red-headed wizard hobbit lady. And off she went. Didn't talk to her ever for like months. And then finally, that was weeks. Finally, we were introduced to each other. She clearly wanted me. The rest is history. Hope you all are doing okay. I've got a hockey game that I wanted to tell you about. It is a benefit for the Belgraph family. If you remember, my dear friend Brian, friend of the family, passed away suddenly at age 47. And the Grand Rapids Griffins, I've been posting a link to this in the notes of the podcast, and I also have put it on Facebook. It's at the top. It's pinned there. There is a benefit game for the Belgraph family. There's a lot of, hard times things that have taken hold post-funeral that are making life very, very difficult for the Belgraphs. So what the Griffs are doing is it is a benefit for the family. So what you do is you go to the game Saturday, March 14th. It is the Sticks Out for Belgraph game. And you on the link, you click on it, you buy a ticket. It's dirt cheap, and like $4 or $5 a ticket goes directly to the Belgraph family to meet the needs as they try to recover from this devastating sudden loss. Brian was the main breadwinner in the house, and that has caused some real issues. So hopefully we'll get a number of people out there. After the game, you're invited down onto the ice. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a group picture, myself, whoever else is going, and then we're going to take that image and we're going to frame it and present it to the Belgraph family as a show of unity, the hockey community, and just fans in general, people in general who want to show their support. We just thought that would be a nice thing. That is coming up a week from Saturday at Van Andel Arena. I have a link in the comments of the audio podcast. I have a link at the top, pinned at the top of Facebook.com/Eric Zane fan page. Last night, I came up with the idea that I essentially was sleeping in a cat box. You're like, what? What are you talking about? And by the way, before I get to that story, I want to also stress this. Send me an email for Dear Meathead. I need a bunch of questions. As you know, we do this live. In about 40 minutes, 42 minutes to be precise. And I'm a little lean on the questions. Reach out, Eric at ericzaneshow.com, and you can send a question for Dear Meathead, and I'll be able to access them as we go. Keep them as simple as possible if you could. 1 or 2 lines in the subject. Write Meathead. Don't write me a book. It's kind of tough for him to follow, if you know what I mean. So you can ask anything you want. Just don't make it too wordy, and try not to be overly cute because he doesn't get it. So if you could just, seriously, ask him anything at all about your home, about your life, about your job, about what he thinks about whatever. If you need any advice, Eric at ericzaneshow.com for Dear Meathead. Okay, so Jacqueline has taken over the room that Diana and I sleep in, our bedroom. I don't know why I said it like that. And I told you why yesterday, because that bed, it angles up where your feet are so that she can keep that knee elevated. So we get stuck in this room that Oh, boy. For some reason, people close doors in this house, and you shouldn't. You should not close doors in a house that has cats because cats hide. And when cats hide in a room, and then you close the door in the room, the cat gets pissed and pees everywhere. Well, I was pretty sure that has happened over the time that we've lived here with these cats. Because, finally the cat will be like, all right, now I'm hungry. I'm not going to beg to be let out when I have to pee. I'll just go anywhere. But if I'm hungry, I'll bang on the door. And I hear, meow, meow. Oh, no, Milo's in there. Oh, no, Lincoln's in there. How long's he been in there? Open up the door. He comes running out. Wash, rinse, repeat. Over the years, this has happened, I don't know, 70, 80 times. So, there's 70 or 80 doses of cat stink urine soaking the carpet. It's got to be, right? At the time, I don't investigate. I'm like, oh, it didn't happen. This isn't, I'm not here right now. Goodbye. So this room that is also a bedroom. I guess it was an office for a time when this, but we needed it for a bedroom. So I've gotten a couple complaints. Jackie once or twice said this day, and then she goes, I think that room smells like cat pee. I was like, oh, God, don't tell me that. No. Yeah, it does. Absolutely does. And there's no escaping that. I mean, if a cat, if the urine flies, it's there forever. This is a great reason to call on Johnson's Carpet One and Bennett Flooring Installations. I'm laying there 2 nights ago, and I could barely sleep because it was just like consuming me. So I open up the door of the bedroom because when the door is closed, it's like the amount of death smell is building. I ended up opening a window in that room. So I'm freezing my ass off. This is terrible. What the hell? I went and I get some of that Nature's Miracle stuff for last night. And I only had enough for one half of the room. Now, in order to determine where, it's either dump it on every inch of carpet or actually find out the quote-unquote hot spots. So I shit you not. I am on my hands and knees in that room like a dog. Like, my nose is down on the carpet, and Diana's like, just forget it. Just forget it. I go, look, we got to sleep in here tonight. I don't want a repeat of last night. I kept dreaming about cat piss. And it's essentially a cat box I'm sleeping in. So, like, legit, hands and knees, my big nose on the ground. Okay, this is not an area that, and then I move over 1 inch. And then I go, and then in the corners and on the baseboards, that's where there's a lot of it, okay? I can smell it. And I'm actually, think about that. I'm burying my nose in cat urine. Forget coronavirus. I probably just contracted some type of feline herpa AIDS corona. That is now in my system forever, and I'm going to spread it throughout the world. I am patient 0 of feline herpa corona AIDS because I've been sucking up dried cat urine oil death. So I'm marking with pieces of paper. I like rip a piece of paper, put it on a hot spot on the carpet. This actually happened. I make my way. I sniff every inch of the carpet and find out all of these zones of death. Then I pour the stuff called Nature's Miracle, which I don't even know if it works. Some people say it does. Some people say it doesn't. I guess time will tell. And you're supposed to really get it wet. And then they say that the enzymes break down the urine, and then the byproduct is harmless and it doesn't stink anymore. Who knows? But I go the extra mile. I pour it on all the hot spots, and I only had enough Nature's Miracle for one half of the room. But I figured that's better than nothing, right? We can go buy some more and take care of that. I pour it, and then the carpet is really wet. And then I take my hand, and I scrub the carpet, okay? I'm rubbing the urine and the Nature's Miracle together, hoping that will assist. Then you got to blot it all up after about 10 minutes of it wiping out the death, supposedly, and then you're done. That's it. Nothing more to do, right? You would think. Now, pleasantly, I mean, it worked for what I intended. I just wanted to sleep. I get into the room, and it smells pleasant. I'm like, hey, did this work? What? I'm pretty sure that it didn't. Well, I guess time will tell because, like I said, I only had half of the room covered with what I had, and I didn't have time to go get any more of that stuff. But at least the wet carpet with the chemical on it, it smelled like perfume. It didn't smell bad at all. It smelled like springtime. I was like, well, all right. And Dinah comes in. She takes one whiff. She goes, still smells like cat pee. I go, well, I'm not done, and I don't smell it, so that's your problem. I don't care anyway. So who knows? Ultimately, all that carpet is going to have to come up. I think the whole house, everything, needs to come up. And I was talking with Jacob Bennett from Bennett Flooring Installation about this via text, and he goes, oh, yeah, your whole house is destroyed. I've seen it a million times. I think we're to a point now that we can just say if you have a pet and you have carpeting, the two just don't go together. There's just if you have a pet, don't bring a pet into a home that has carpet. I think you either have to not get a pet or make it so that the floors are laminate, hardwood, tile, whatever, just as long as it's not carpet, okay? Going forward, or else you're going to be in your house is then a litter box or just a place for the dogs to take dumps. Now, some of my dogs have taken a new level, an actual new approach. Some have gotten it where when they do take dumps, they do it on the spots of the floor that don't have carpeting. And I'm really, really appreciative of that. But ultimately, there's piss everywhere. Every inch of carpet needs to come up in this house. Yesterday was Super Tuesday, and I think the dust is still settling on this. Okay. This is apparently unprecedented. We had talked on this podcast before about how Biden was done because of the dominance that Sanders showed. First of all, almost winning Iowa, winning New Hampshire, and then winning Nevada. So a lot of people were like, man, Biden is done, and he's the one that a lot of people thought would have had a chance to beat Trump because we talked about the stats that no one has ever performed that poorly and then won the nomination. In fact, whoever comes in first and second in Iowa or New Hampshire always gets the nomination. So that's huge, you know? Well, out of the blue, this old son of a bitch has just blown up in the past 24 hours. And I don't know if it's a combination of things. Some experts have suggested that is exactly what it is because he won South Carolina. And by the way, there was a story going around where asshole Michael Moore, who's a big Sanders supporter, but the guy's kind of a cock. He made a statement that pissed a lot of people off, especially in the South, because he said South Carolina doesn't represent the United States. And so people in South Carolina took offense to that. Now, the black voters love Joe Biden. And they also love Bernie Sanders, but they love Joe Biden more. And so he just kicked ass in the South and had a hell of a time just dominating. He had a very good time, I should say, dominating. Sanders had a hell of a time. He won Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee, all these key southern states. But the big prize is California. And now I've heard two things. I've heard as of this morning that Sanders won, and then I've heard that it's too close to call, and they haven't yet settled. And as of this podcast going on right now, they may have determined that. And Texas, it looks like there's going to be a share of those delegates. Now, you need more than 1,000 delegates to more than likely get the nomination. But right now, these two are neck and neck. Biden has inserted himself back in the race somehow, and I think by some accounts he is actually leading in delegates. The point of all this is he's not done, and that is a huge thing to have happen because it's never really happened before. So yesterday was a big, big day as Sanders was kind of reeling. Biden was coming on strong, and, this is very, very exciting. So if you're a fan of those guys or you're a fan of the Democratic Party, that's what you have to deal with right now. Now, a lot of people have said initially that Trump is going to win whoever is the candidate. And but if there was anybody that had a better chance of actually beating Trump, it would be Joe Biden because he's less to the left, not nearly as far to the left as Sanders, who is way over on the left, as you know. You know what this guy stands for. Biden, much more towards the center. He is a moderate Democrat. He is not about Medicare for all. He is more like about, people getting their health care the way I have to get it, buying it on the exchange. Or if you also about, I can choose whatever policy I want and buy it. If you have your employer's insurance, that is that's a great insurance. If Joe Biden is president, he's going to make it that you can't use that insurance. You're going to have to use the government insurance. So that pisses a lot of people off. But you get a lot of these other people who are like, well, he's part of the revolution. He's going to kick Trump's ass. And Sanders has that vibe about him, going against the establishment. He's always trying to pit big business against the working class people. And that's been his mantra from day one. So, whatever, pick your poison, I guess. Whatever you want. Who's not going to be part of this whole fucking thing is former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Holy fuck. This guy sucked so much shit in that Super Tuesday voting. He didn't get anything. Oh, I take it back. He got one thing, which I didn't even know that there's delegates for them. American Samoa. Of all the things to win, what a punch in the dick. You spend $500 million, and the only thing you got was 4 delegates representing American Samoa. What? First of all, how? How did he even get that? Why is it that the people in American Samoa are like, I know the rest of the country is going Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden, but all of us here in American Samoa, which I couldn't tell you where that is, is that an island? And is that a Polynesian island in the Pacific Ocean somewhere? Is that near Hawaii? All I know is when it comes to Samoans, Junior Seau is of Samoan descent. There were some pro wrestlers known as the Wild Samoans, and I think Troy Polamalu is part Samoan. That's the only thing I know. I have exhausted my knowledge, and they love Michael Bloomberg. I now have exhausted my knowledge on American Samoa, and they have 4 delegates, and Michael Bloomberg has them. So, with $500 million, they have voted for this guy. Now, he spoke, and he's just such a weaselly, wormy-voiced twat, Michael Bloomberg is. And here he is addressing a couple hundred people last night. Tell me if this doesn't sound like a concession speech, like, I'm going to have to get out of this whole campaign.
Now, the night the polls are still open in a number of Super Tuesday states.
Okay, that right there, that means you lost. Because whenever they start saying, well, it's not over, they lost. And he has, at this point that he made these comments, it's only 23 seconds long. He's gotten just Biden and Sanders have grabbed the back of his head and just shoved his face in shit repeatedly all night. And so he's still making these comments.
Now, the night the polls are still open in a number of Super Tuesday states, and as the results come in, here's what is clear. No matter how many delegates we win tonight, we have done something no one else thought was possible.
Spend $500 million and only get 4 delegates. That's what no one thought was possible.
In just 3 months, we've gone from 1% of the polls to being a contender for the Democratic nomination for president.
right, so he should wrap it up at any time. In fact, I would expect all of these people should wrap it up. And I forgot to add the element about what helps Sanders is the uniting of the people in that party. Mayor Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, they're like, Joe Biden's our guy now. Sanders is alone. Flapping in the wind. If he pulls this off, I think it'd be a great story because he is kind of like a lone wolf. But I don't know. I mean, Biden is coming on strong. No way in hell I'm voting for any of those people that America was voting for last night, by the way, just so we're all on the same page. But I do love the drama. I'm telling you, this is fun to watch. It's never happened last night, ever. Do want to pass along, man. That was some serious shit last night. Tennessee took a punch, Nashville, from the back of the room as that crazy bitch, Mother Nature, roared to, decided that, it was that time of the month. And here's, oh, by the way, Nashville, in the middle of the night, here's a doomsday scenario for you. I believe I'll be just destroying all of your structures and killing dozens of people. That's what you have there. Absolutely catastrophic and horrible. That was some serious, scary shit. The video scene where you have an F3 or an F4 tornado illuminated by city lights. And wow, that was a scary, scary thing. On Broadway, all the take cover sirens going off, and people are like, what the hell? You know, these are people that are out to tourists and shit, and they're like taking cover. I talked about this on the Patreon at a couple of my Zaniac audience members, Melinda and Kenny, on who are in Nashville. Melinda, I couldn't believe it. In the segment that we had yesterday, she goes, "Oh yeah, I knew we were safe because the windows weren't making certain noise or something like that." I was like, "How do you know?" She's been through it many times, but she wasn't in the epicenter of this, nor was Kenny. But I saw images of a car that was taken and thrown into the air and deposited in the third story of an apartment building. This was a horrible, catastrophic tornado, and there is also shitty weather down south again, wreaking havoc in the deep south and I think on up into Tennessee. A lot of unstable air causing thunderstorms and things like that, which could spawn tornadoes. So definitely not out of the woods. But man, I cannot imagine your life suddenly being turned upside down with a loss of life or catastrophic loss of your home or your business or something like that. So I know I have some listeners in Nashville that listen to this podcast, and I am definitely thinking about you, and I'm sure everybody else is too. I did like it was just crazy yesterday when I talked to Kenny. I called him before I started the podcast yesterday. The fact that so many of the other members of the audience, Stu and Megan specifically, actually called Kenny or whoever they knew and reached out to them in any way possible and said, "Hey, are you okay?" Okay, if you're just getting into this podcast, remember Dear Meathead happens in about 20 minutes. Shit. As I said here, I'm moving this heater because I'm freezing. And of course, there's 8 million cords here. God, what is my deal today? That's what happens when you put stuff together. Did you hear that coffee? All of a sudden you hear this. I didn't spill my coffee, don't worry. So yeah, I'll talk to Dad in moments. Email eric@ericzaneshow.com. I would love to hear from you if you have a question for Dear Meathead. Sorry, folks, I'm fucking with these cords here. Hang on a second. Hold on, I gotta unhook this. Rest in peace to your ears. There was a scene in the Blues, in the Blues Brothers, when Jake is cleaning up after the gig, or Elwood, and he's pulling cords, mic cords, and beer bottles are falling all over the place. That's what I'm dealing with today. I have a story that I want to get to next. Man, speaking of Nashville, arguably the most famous filmmaker ever. His daughter was arrested in Nashville. Saturday night, she spent the night in jail. I'll tell you who the director is. I'll tell you why the person was in jail. And I'll tell you a neat little fun fact about what the daughter is doing for a career. I didn't know any of this, and it's freaking terrible. That comes up in just a bit. But as you know, I love camping. I was fortunate enough to be able to get an RV, which I utilize regularly all summer long. Now, when it comes to camping, as long as you're out, you don't need to have a motorhome. You don't need to have a great big travel trailer. You don't need to have a great big fifth wheel. You just need to be out. It's kind of like they say when you go boating, as long as you're on the water. You know, whether it's a canoe or a yacht. Terrytown RV is the place to start your shopping adventure. That's a pretty big decision if you're buying a camper, travel trailer, motorhome, RV, whatever it may be. But I can't stress enough to you about how much your family is going to love you. A lot of people that listen to this show have young families, young kids, you know. And you might be like, yeah, well, we don't have two nickels to rub together. It's like, I know. Just go look. Just go to their website, terrytownrv.com, or meet me there. I can actually meet you there to go check out some of the merchandise. And just look at some of the numbers, some of the prices, and I'll tell you about the fun that you're going to have all summer long, instead of just staring at everybody like a bunch of idiots inside of the home wondering what to do, and then you're going to end up going to someplace like the zoo and dropping $250 anyway, or whatever it may be. I mean, seriously, man, it's the fact that you can just pack up and go, and you bring all your own food. You don't have to eat out anywhere. And the unbelievably fun times, the memories you will make while you are camping are absolutely priceless. I wish we had started this when my kids were very, very young. I didn't. I regret that. TerrytownRV.com. That's where this all starts. Go to their website. Look at the stuff. All right, you can shop online. You can shop in person. I like shopping in person. That's my favorite thing, is shopping for campers, travel trailers, RVs. Terrytown RV is on Division in Grand Rapids, between 68th and 76th Street. Actually, I think that's like Byron Center. I don't know. Whatever. 68th and 76th Street on Division. That's where they're located. Check them out online as well, terrytownrv.com. As you know, heating and cooling expert is Joe Martinez, 616-516-8579. He still has that deal going on for a humidifier. It's normally $615. For Zane Show Gringos, it's $515. Just mention the show, get a humidifier installed for that price. If you buy a furnace, that humidifier, forget all that. It's free. If you're an active or retired military member or a senior citizen, or you have a loved one who's a senior citizen, take advantage of the Zane discount, 15% off. If you're a vet, active, retired, or a senior citizen, you can take advantage of all the other things and get 15% off. How about that? Call Joe Martinez today, 616-516-8579. 17 minutes away from Deer Meathead. Send your questions to Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Steven Spielberg is the gentleman I was talking about. His adopted daughter is Michaela. She's 23. I didn't know he had adopted a daughter, but when she was very, very little, he and lovely Mrs. Spielberg did just that. And they raised the little girl as best they could. And she blossomed into a beautiful young lady, and that was great. You know, maybe Dad was like, at some point, the little girl was like, "Dad, what do you do for a living?" You know, that point in time when you always ask your parents, "Hey, what do you do?" You know, I'm a fireman. I'm a lawyer. I'm a filmmaker. Well, how does that work? Well, this is what we do. Takes her onto the set. She's probably like, "Oh, wow, this is pretty cool. Maybe one day I'll be able to make films or be in films. Maybe I'll help produce films, and maybe I'll be a writer. Maybe I'll be an actress. Okay, so if you're Steven, you're like, this is great. This is really working out. I sure am happy with this process. The adoption was fantastic. Now, I cannot believe what I read next. And I kind of put myself in the shoes of Steven Spielberg here, and I was like, God, I think I would hang myself if I found out what he then eventually found out. 23-year-old Michaela decided that, yes, she wants to be in the movie industry, but a part of the movie industry that Steven Spielberg, I'm sure, wasn't really hoping she would be involved in, because she's a porn queen. Yep, that's right. I didn't know it either. I had no idea. Steven Spielberg's daughter is a porn actress. My God, how would you like to be? And she's like way open about it too. She's like, yeah, I feel like I'm just channeling my inner beauty by being in porno. I can honestly tell you that if I think that if I had to choose between my daughter being abducted or being in porno, I would choose being abducted. I know that sounds awful, man, but I mean, seriously, that is, it just makes makes my heart ache. I think they're both terrible, but I can't, no, fucking A. Oh my God, that poor family. Ooh. That is really, really bad. I mean, think about it. I mean, that's enough to make you never want to. That's enough to make you swear off porno forever. If you just take the idea that that person in that movie is someone's daughter, and then envision your own daughter, that means, well, you're never going to look at porno again, or you're going to hang yourself. One or the other. This is just bad. 23-year-old Michaela Spielberg is in porno, but that isn't why she's in the news. For me, that was big news. I was like, holy shit, I had no idea. She went to jail just this past weekend, and I'm not really sure the extent of what went on here. But in Nashville, Tennessee, Michaela Spielberg was arrested Saturday on domestic violence, misdemeanor domestic violence. Wow. Admitted to the Hill Detention Center at 6:30 Saturday morning. $1,000 bail already posted. She was released at the conclusion of a 12-hour hold, which is routine in domestic violence cases. An official with the Davidson County Sheriff's Office told the New York Post. Of all the things you'd want to be, my God, who cares that she got arrested for domestic violence? The bus comes less than 2 weeks after she announced, just 2 weeks ago, she announced she'd been making solo sex videos she posted on Pornhub.com, and that she was working to get a license to become an exotic dancer in Nashville. Man, if you're Steven, I mean, think about that. What do you... I mean, okay, after the pain subsides, it never would, but you see her like a year later. So, hey, how have you been? You don't even want to ask that question. Man. Michaela Spielberg lives in Nashville with her fiance, Chuck Pankow, who's 50. Oh, God. And Chuck Pankow, you know what this piece of shit does for a living? He plays darts. He's like a professional dart player. Steven Spielberg is like, I don't know what's worse. You got arrested, you're in porno, you're dating a guy who's twice your age, or his career is he throws darts. What more? I mean, he could make a movie about this. Fuck. His Instagram account has pictures of him striking poses variously with Michaela, and alongside a trophy from a Tennessee State darts championship. Any of the dads listening that have daughters, if your daughter brought home, hey, this is my boyfriend, he's a dart guru, you'd punch him in the face right there. You take the butt end of your Remington and go, boom! Just knock my headphones off. Right in the face. A dart champion? That's probably the worst part of this story. That Steven Spielberg's like, hey, you know what? I don't care. Out of all the bad things, the worst part about this is you're dating a guy who his career is darts. Michaela says, Dad, don't worry. I'm not making porno with another person. Out of deference, quote, to her relationship with her significant other. So she's just like, I guess, touching herself. Doesn't matter. Such a private thing. If you're a dad and your daughter is displaying that to the world, I don't know if seriously, that would ruin me. If I found that out, I cannot tell you how I would react. I have no idea. I am actually very, very sad for Steven Spielberg. And oh, by the way, she's dating a 50-year-old dart player. Ugh. Michaela was adopted as a child by the director and his wife of 29 years, that is actress Kate Capshaw. Her famous parents are, quote, embarrassed and concerned by the career move. But Michaela told the press that making porn has helped her overcome anxiety and bipolar disorder. Oh, no. If you're Spielberg, you're Mr. Spielberg, you're like, go with the anxiety and bipolar disorder. How does that make it so? Yeah, I'm less, hey, I'm on camera touching myself and embarrassing my family because I'm an asshole. But it's helping my anxiety and my bipolar disorder. Eat shit. Issues that had been worsened by being bullied as a child for her weight and famous last name. Aha. At a young age, she was groomed and abused by predators, she says, who were not in her family of their circle of friends. She's also struggled with alcoholism, a disease that she said came close to killing her, she said. I've always struggled with that term of disease. Hey, Eric, you have a disease. No, I don't. Well, how can I? Really? Is it because to me a disease, I've said this before, is cancer a disease? Yes. Can I choose to not have cancer? No. Right. You know why? Why? Because it's a disease. Yeah, but you're an alcoholic. You have a disease. Yeah, but I choose not to drink. Well, then, what? Have I chosen not to have my disease? Yes. Well, that's not a disease. Dummy. I'll fight anybody about that. Even my brother's like, it is a disease. No, it's not. What are you fucking talking about? I drink too much. I fall down. I decided I can't fall down anymore. So I stopped drinking. Is that a disease, you dumb son of a bitch? My God. This story really has affected me. I keep putting myself into Spielberg's spot. Daughters in porn. All in 2 weeks, he found out his daughter's in porno. She's arrested for domestic abuse. She's dating a guy who's 50 and a dart player. My God, this kid's got to get her act together. Well, I want to read an email for you I got yesterday. I didn't act butthurt about it, but it's a little bit... there's a little bit of trepidation when it comes to the Patreon because it drops off dramatically every month. And by the way, if it didn't renew for you and you still want it, this is just a reminder for you to check it out. It's not nearly as much of a problem as it was before because I've worked very hard to try to build this business from the ground up with sponsorships to help. And by design, it worked out where I didn't have any sponsorships to start, and you all really put a lot of money towards me, which made it so that I could then catapult that and parlay that into spending my time getting sponsorships. So it did work like a charm. And so I am not nearly as anxiety-ridden when I see this. But it does creep into my brain, and because I am a little bit of a wounded soul when it comes to shit like that. Will I make it? Will this show die on the vine? And most people tell me, Eric, and it's not. You're doing great. And 90% of the time I believe them, but 10% of the time I maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just an asshole that sucks shit, and I'm here in my room, and then I start to believe shitty things people say about me. So I did touch on that a little bit yesterday. It wasn't anything dramatic, and it never will be, but because I know that ultimately all I have to do is keep working, keep moving, and good things will happen. That's how I've been able to do this for 14 months, and we've done it. So thank you. But Philip sent me a nice email, and I really appreciate him because I do get these emails from time to time, and they really make me feel great. So thank you, Philip. I just wanted to share what you wrote to me. And he starts with talking about my cat, Buddy Bobcat Face, because I shared on the Patreon yesterday because John had said, hey, well, we need an update on the cat. And I said, well, the cat's recovered great. He's in the garage. He was in the house for a little bit, probably peeing in my cat box bedroom. And now he's out, and he does wander around. I'm a little concerned, wondering how old he's getting, if he's going to get disoriented. But I'm like, I wonder if he's still going to be able to kill things like he likes to do. And I hate that he does it. So the wildlife in the area has had the playing field evened out, or so I thought, because Philip sent me a picture of his one-eyed cat, and he wrote this. You've got a great-looking cat, by the way, Philip. This won't be a problem for Buddy Bobcat Face, he writes. This little asshole, his cat, is a stone-cold killer. This morning, I watched him run along the edge of the field, ears up, peeking through every spot he could, looking for something to kill, ran up the driveway, down the sidewalk, and all the time he had a huge dead mouse in his maw. He adds, we find all kinds of death around here. Sometimes it's just a tail, sometimes a hind leg, sometimes a face, sometimes it's just a stomach. Banana out the window right now. There are critters everywhere around here, therefore there are dead critters. He says there are critters everywhere around here, therefore there are dead critters everywhere here. He won't have a problem. Then he writes, regarding Patreon, keep at it. My $5 ain't going anywhere ever. I believe in supporting the stuff you like and showing your commitment with the wallet. We had a rare sermon about that on Sunday. He says, I know I could be the $10, but I mostly only am an audio listener, and I'm still a cheap Dutchman. Blessings, Phil. Well, whether anybody's giving me their time, which is absolutely A-OK, and can't afford it, I'm totally cool with that. Or if you think, I just won't listen to it, that's fine too. Whatever you decide. Thank you so much. I appreciate you just giving me the time of day, frankly, at this stage of the game. Dad is next. I'm going to call him in just a minute for Dear Meathead. I haven't yet looked at the email, but if you have something for Dad, please send it along. Eric@ericzaneshow.com. God, I sure hope we get some. Let me hit the refresh button. One. Oh God, I got John sent me one, and I don't know how much mileage we're gonna get out of Dear Meathead today. Send them along, Eric@ericzaneshow.com. You've got a couple of minutes. JM Synthetics distributes AMSOIL. They created synthetic motor oil. You should put it in your car, your boat, your ATV, your motorcycle, your four-wheeler, your snowmobile, your big lawnmower, whatever it is, your heavy-duty equipment. They have it all. AMSOIL sells their products through people like Jason, JM Synthetics. He's a Zaniac. If you go to his website, which you can get to it by going to mine, ericzaneshow.com, in the lower sponsor scroll, buy your AMSOIL products there. That's where you go. If you buy more than $100 worth, he's going to give you a free fuel additive. Thank you. That's very kind of you. And then make him a regular stop. If you're doing a lot of DIY stuff when it comes to synthetic motor oil, replacing it from the vehicle, whatever, that's where you go. Thank you, JM Synthetics. Horizon Hydroponics, great sponsor. They grow stuff without the need for soil. The budding, growing process of Horizon Hydroponics. They have all the equipment that you need. In fact, hydroponics was a question on Dear Meathead, not Dear Meathead. Smarter than a former drug dealer trivia yesterday. I'm standing next to it. We're right next to a Horizon Hydroponics sign. And the answer was hydroponics, and those guys, I think one of them came up with it, but that's what you're doing there. And if you're growing anything indoors, Horizon Hydroponics has all the stuff you need. Lights, I almost said nights. Lights, tents, soils, fertilizers, whatever you need, Horizon Hydroponics. 4 locations, one in Kalamazoo, one in Lansing, one in Grand Rapids, and also Byron Center, Michigan with the Growers Outlet. Their website is horizonhydroponics.com, Horizen, hydroponics.com. Okay? You can shop online. You can buy it online and then pick it up at the store if you like, or you can have it delivered, or just go in person. Thank you to Horizon Hydroponics, great sponsor of the Eric Zane Show podcast. One more for you before we bring Dad in here. Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid. That's where I want you to get your cars fixed. Domestic, Asian. BMWs, Minis, and Mercedes. All repaired at Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid. Okay? Their website is irvines.com. Hundreds of Google reviews giving them a 5-star average. That's not easy to do. If you're on 44th Street in West Michigan, just east of 131, 3 blocks of that is a side street called Stafford. That's where they are at. Go see Megan. Go see Jamie. Go see Eric. Go see Bruce. All there. Irvines.com. Irvine's Auto Repair. Grand Rapids Hybrid. Got a few more pouring in right now for Dear Meathead. Dear Meathead, I see Randall Pellerito is there. Dean, John, thank you. If you have any other questions for Dad, we will get to them. But right now I'm going to bring him in. Okay. Open up the app. Call Pops. And away we go. Sounds like we're in a submarine. Today is Wednesday, right? It's a hunt for Red October. Dad. Well, that's weird. It says Dad is not available. No answer. Try it again. This might get very awkward. There it is.
Hi.
Hey, Joanne, how are you?
I'm good, honey. Your father, I forgot. He's in, I'll get him just a minute.
Oh, is he on the toilet?
No, just a minute.
Okay, all right.
It's Eric. It's Meathead, remember?
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
Here he comes.
Okay, no big deal. No big deal. Take your time.
He was getting dressed, that's all.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
No, don't be silly. Here he is. Just a minute.
All right.
I forgot all about him. Hi, son.
Oh, that's okay.
How are you, man?
I'm well. Sorry about. I called you yesterday, but it's okay. I forget stuff all the time, Dad.
What?
You felt bad that you had forgotten, but don't feel bad. It's no big deal.
No. I did forget somewhat this morning, but I just jumped in the shower and I got it done, so I'm all set.
Oh, no big deal. Are you dressed? You're not like naked right now, are you?
No, Joanne wished that I was.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm not naked.
Okay, good.
Fully dressed. I just forgot to put my belt on.
Okay. Do you still do like push-ups and stuff?
Huh?
You still do like push-ups and stuff to get in shape?
No, but Joanne's got this gizmo that you put your foot in it and you keep twirling, you know.
It's like a bike.
It's like a bike.
Yeah.
And occasionally I get in the mood to do that. So otherwise,
Yeah.
Yesterday I got out there and started doing the yard.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, it's getting close.
Yeah. So anyway, we're doing good. How about you and your family?
Not bad. I was telling you about Jackie. She underwent that little surgery. She's in the other room.
Now, is she at home or does she work anyway?
She's taking a couple weeks off while she recovers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's in the other room right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, give her our love.
Yeah, I got it.
And, well, wish her that she's going to recover in a hurry.
Yeah, it's just her and I. I'm like taking care of her. I mean, after I do this podcast, I got to go wait on her, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, well, what's the matter with her boyfriend?
Well, he's working.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know?
Like you got nothing else to do, right?
Well, you know, no big deal. That's what parents do for their kids.
Hey, it's your baby, man. You got to be doing that.
Right on.
Okay.
Hey, boy, I heard a terrible story. I just talked about it on the podcast. Are you familiar with the filmmaker known as Steven Spielberg?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he made like Close Encounters and E.T., you know, I mean, one of the biggest.
Yeah.
I just heard a story that I couldn't believe it. He has a 23-year-old daughter that he adopted. And that's not the bad part. And he's you know, when she was a little baby, he and his wife adopted her. And then her name came up because she got arrested over this past weekend for domestic abuse or something like that. I guess she might have slugged some guy who was her boyfriend. And
she slugged the boyfriend. Okay.
Yeah. So, and now I didn't even know about this, but then 2 weeks prior to this incident, she announced to the world that she's a porno queen.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine if you had a loved one that said, "Hey, Grandpa, guess what I'm doing?"
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's a good family. The income is not a bad income. Oh, I don't get
Wait a
what this world.
Wait.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, she's like, "Hey, Dad, guess what? I'm doing this for a living." Awful.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Dad.
I don't know what I would
Here's
do.
a present for you.
How do you ever talk to that person again?
Oh, my God. What would I do if that was my daughter?
That's what I was saying. I was like, can you imagine if I walked up to you and said, "Hey, Dad, guess what? I'm making porno movies." You wouldn't want to talk to me ever again.
Oh, my God. I don't know what I'd do. I really think I'd want to hurt her. No. Hey, go be a porno over there in the corner of some street.
I said something horrible, but I stand by it. If I had to choose between child abducted or child in porno, I choose abduction.
Well, I don't know what I would do as far as that goes, but then again, that definitely leaves a mark on my personality as a father.
Well, it's not your personality. It's just you. But you just.
I mean, if that was my daughter.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, that was. So I'm kind of rattled by that thing. I'm putting myself in Spielberg's shoes. I'm like, Jesus, how the hell do you? I
cannot fathom that. I really can't understand that. I think she's got no brains whatsoever to think of other people and what she does to the others.
Yes.
Aside from what it does to herself.
Right. Let's see.
Man, this is a bad world, Eric. I really mean that.
Yeah, I know. A lot of weird things. Hey, did you follow the freaking Super Tuesday yesterday? I know we've talked.
Yes, we did.
Okay, so did you see the interesting thing about Biden, how he came back?
Yes, I did. He really came from nowhere. And then the opposite person, I don't have
Sanders.
a whole lot of care for her. Yeah.
Sanders is you told me last week that you don't like Sanders at all.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Now, what about Biden? What if he ends up winning? Well, I mean, is he?
Well, it's not my favorite. You know, my mind is somewhere else. So.
Okay.
Either one of them are not going to be my vote
Gotcha.
together. You know.
Yep. And I echo that, but I just thought it was a big deal that he came out of nowhere and did that. That's never happened before.
Well, California picked him up.
Yeah, and there was
if it wasn't California, it would have been nowhere.
So he it's just really interesting that a guy who did so poorly to start has emerged as having a chance.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Maybe you can help me with this one thing now. Is his plan to change the entire health situation?
No. That's Bernie.
No. Okay. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. I was talking about the Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
Right.
All right, Dad, I got questions for you from a number of people who have written in. Are you ready?
Yes, I am, and I surely love your audience.
I do too. They are exceptional. The fact that we had nothing when we began but a cell phone and an unfinished room, and 14 months later, we have parlayed this into what it is now, and I owe it all to them.
That's awesome. God's looking after you, my friend.
They are. That is true. They are in God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
This anonymous person writes this, Dad. It's a very simple question. If you break someone's trust, what is the best way to earn it back, Dad?
Well, I don't know if you can ever earn that back 100%, but it would take a kind person to go ahead and forgive them, but you probably would never really be 100% like it used to be. Unless some things occur that you have a relationship with the person, then you gradually can come up and trust them. And you have to have love and trust together.
I think.
But then again, if I don't have the love and my trust got broken up through whatever they did to me, I have a difficult time. When I'm hurt somehow or other, I have a difficult time to make a comeback, but I will. Now, I'll tell you a little story about this. I have one of the neighbors, and I don't mention names or anything else, that throughout the time, we kind of broke away.
Yeah, you had like a disagreement.
Well, that personality is in jail, and his wife would participate in our conversations or our feelings, which I don't approve of that. If there's a man-to-man type of thing, the wife has no business getting involved in it. Of course, the wife is always defending the husband. But anyway, we fell apart.
Yeah.
To a point that I really disliked him.
Okay.
But he really is a good person. And it goes back almost 20 years ago, the nicest things that he did for me. Somehow throughout the time of going through this thing, it came to my brain that, hey, look at all the good things that he did at one time or other. His kids grew up with us, you know. Oh, we really enjoyed it. So last Christmas, I said, heck with it. I'm calling myself a Christian, and I'm not following it. I'm right there, knock on the door. Here he comes, arm in a sling. Apparently he had a problem with his arm.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I want to wish you a good holiday. Sorry for the past. We already did that once before, but it never manifested to be 100%.
Yeah.
I still didn't like him. So that was being a two-faced person. I did that. And you know what? A load of weight got lifted off of my heart.
Wow, I did that. That is exceptional. So you like,
and he really reciprocated.
Yeah, sometimes
he participated in replying the same things back to me, returning that, and we made up.
Yeah,
that was a great feeling.
I think the key here is time, and I think getting back to this anonymous person's email, if I may, this is the process, and all you can worry about is currently, like today, right now, is current behavior, and whether you were the one who your trust was compromised. You just got to take it as it comes. If you're the one that broke the trust, then you just have to not do that anymore, and you're going to have to hope for the best. Don't
absolutely
and give it time.
Something that's I'm sorry, go ahead.
And just give it time. That's all I want to say. Just give it time.
That's right. Well, no, it takes an effort also.
Yep.
Now, this has happened. One of you two have to come forward to make this happen the right way. If you're hurting enough, if you feel within your own heart that you have the right to feel that bad, that's a pretty heavy burden on you, my friend. But you know what? The bottom line is it's a good feeling for you. I don't know if you owe him an apology or not, whatever this has happened. But you know what? tell me something. What did it take away from you, whatever this person did to you?
Yeah.
If you lost something through it,
right,
other than mental anguish that, hey, why would this person do that? That's another issue. But you gotta be a bigger person in the world. You know what? If you walked up to this guy and said, listen, I'm so sorry about this, the way it happened. I don't know whose fault it is, but I don't want to lose your friendship.
Yeah, that's
if the friendship is worth something, mend it yourself. And you know what? You're going to put that guy to shame for the rest of his life.
All right, Dad, that all sounds great. Well said. I'm going to move on to the next one. This is a person who you've heard from the previous 2 weeks. It is an anonymous person who's had the sex issues I talked to you about. I
remember him.
Okay, this person writes, Dear Meathead, sex addict here. I found out that if I cut my wife off when she's in the mood, it drives her crazy. Is this a power I should take advantage of or take it where I can get it when she's in the mood? Please embellish. Signed, Anonymous Sex Addict.
Mr. Anonymous, I really appreciate you contacting back on this. But you know what? Are you having a revenge contest? What is the matter with you? It's still your wife. You love her. Come on, get with it.
Yeah, you can't, try to drive her crazy, you know?
I don't look at your mentality as a favorable way, really, dealing with this like that. You're the guy that's created the problem. You're going to have to correct this, my gosh. And I'm not really chastising you, but I'm telling you, if that's what it is, your marriage is on the rocks.
Yeah. All right.
And then what? You got to find someone else that the same way?
Right.
You have a problem, my friend. You really need some help. Get some care to find out what your problem is and correct it. And my God, don't let your wife pay the piper.
Right. Yeah, you don't want her to pay the piper. You want to give her the piper.
That's right. Now that's your word, my friend. You're cracking Joanna up in
here. My God. Okay,
we gotta have some fun in life.
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
So
No,
I'm so sorry that it's at this friend's expense.
Sure thing. Now,
he has a legitimate problem.
I kind of wanted to recap for Anonymous. Just remember, Anonymous, my dad said, quote, I don't look at your mentality in a favorable way.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing the wrongs and you're punishing your wife.
Yes, you can't.
That don't make sense.
This person.
I hope he hears this.
All right.
I'm in his corner. He has a problem.
I know it.
But that's not the way you solve it.
I'm expecting some feedback from that person for next week.
I hope so, really, because I really want to help him out.
Yeah, absolutely. This person, Jason, writes this. Hey, Meathead, have you ever tried to start your own business?
Well, not really. My mind is always teeter-totter going every direction. I was in insurance business for many, many years, and I stuck to that, and that's the only business. However, there are opportunities in here that I probably could start, but I'm getting a little too old for that.
Okay. Let's see. Dear Meathead, is it time to take the snowblower off of my lawnmower and put the mowing deck back on, or is it going to snow enough again that I will need the snowblower? Thanks, Randall.
Well, I have a dilemma myself with that, but I have one of those Mickey Mouse blowers. But I'll tell you, the last snow that we had, which was nothing, I have a damaged hand. With one hand, I pushed the snow by just a regular shovel. Just pushed it. I don't lift it or nothing. And I really don't anticipate, unless there's a godly punishment thing coming on and all of a sudden you get 12 inches of snow. I don't expect to get any more snow to begin with.
All right.
I think you should put your plow together.
All right. So put the mowing deck back on.
Put it, yeah, right.
Okay. Dean writes this. Dear Meathead, he likes, a lot of people like to know about your history, Dad. You coming to the U.S. in the 50s. This Dean writes, Dear Meathead, how scared were you when you came to the U.S. from Iran?
I was so scared that if you cut me, I couldn't bleed.
What?
I mean, I'm telling you, I was very scared. Listen, I would like to eat a whole year a hamburger.
Wait, what?
For food. That's all I knew. I knew hamburger, hot dog, and an apple pie.
You're saying that's the
all
only...
I knew about food. That's the name. For 6 months, I couldn't learn the English.
Okay, so all you would want, people would say, hey, buddy, can I help you? And you would just say hamburger.
In the restaurant, they ask me, what's your order? And I tell them,
hamburger.
Hot dog and what was it?
Yeah.
And apple pie.
I'm glad that that's the word you knew, hamburger, as opposed to like...
I had it written down. They told me when I left the old country, this food is always available to you.
I wish that whoever was in the old country would have played a prank and wrote the word penis.
Well, I would have to settle for that. What the hell? But you know something? I always had an optimistic personality. I really did. Because I figured all of this crap will happen. Listen, I want to tell you a story about to this fellow here. There was 5, 6 foreign Arabs and all that. We all got together. We were in high school. Man, I was like a little kid,
Yeah.
With $1.25 an hour work I had, and we got together and rented a place. Everybody had a room. Rent at that time was Highland Park, Michigan. It was dirt cheap. And then I would have a little bit of hot dog or something stored away in a corner of the refrigeration. And one of the meatheads just stole my breakfast.
Oh, is that what?
Ate it.
Oh my God! Well, I've got a
and
pic.
I got up. I went to nothing to eat.
Oh my
what
God!
Happened? And nobody would admit who did it.
Is that the?
And I had to go to school hungry till next lunch period time come up that I started saving money for that to buy me a hot dog.
Okay, now, Dad, is that the origin of that one picture that I have of you standing in front of the fridge, the open fridge, because you're like, hey, who the hell stole my stuff?
I don't think so, but I could have been, no.
Yeah.
No, because the days that you were visiting me, I was doing well. We had a lot of food in the house.
All right. Well, all right, Dad. That is always, it's always great to go back in time to hear those stories of when you were a young man and doing your thing, coming to the U.S.
Okay.
Well,
I'm appreciative that you bring some of my memories back to myself.
Oh yeah, I tell you what.
I appreciate the audience. They're great people. You know that.
You know this. I'm telling you, all this talking you do is good for your brain. I know that you're, with the news this past few months about your noggin. I mean, we're doing our best to try to keep you sharp.
You're doing great. Thank you. I'm grateful to the audience.
Yeah.
And my wife thanks you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is always a lot of fun, Dad. You know we love doing Dear Meathead with you every Wednesday.
All right. And you hug and kiss my ailing girl.
Okay. Yep, I will.
And, just be nice to her, will you? And say hello to your baby, will you? That's your wife, right?
Yes, ma'am. I will take care of them all.
Okay.
Okay.
God bless you, and nice talking with you.
Okay, I love you.
Thank you, audience.
Yes, Dad. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you down the road. Bye-bye. Oh, my God. Whew. Always so much fun. I'm telling you, that bit has just turned the frickin' corner in this theater. The whole live thing. I don't know why I'm struggling with words today. Damn it. It keeps getting better. Shit. Man. Dear Meathead. Man, so much fun. Thank you to everybody who reached out and sent the questions. That's all you need, really, is those basic ones to get him going. And he just takes off like a bat out of hell. So great. All right, we'll do it again next week. As always, if something pops in your brain, send a question. I see Mark sent one. He wrote, Dear Meathead, what was your last interaction with the Doobie Brothers? How did it go? Are there any fond memories you have of the brothers? Please embellish. Now, I don't know if Mark's trying to set him up, But the Doobie Brothers are my wife's brothers, and they're doing great, by the way. They're retired right now. I might have mentioned that recently in a podcast. It seems to jog my memory that I did. But if I would have brought them up to him, he'd have had a heart attack, because it was my dad who had to repair the house that they were in, that was my father-in-law's house, and flip it in order for us to sell it. And he was really upset with them because of the condition that the house was in. This is years ago. This is like a decade and a half ago. And so my dad and Joanne were the ones who flipped the house. And then we sold the house, and then the guy who bought it just ripped it to the ground. So all that work my dad did, the guy just demolished it. My dad was so pissed about that, man. Holy crap. All right, I got more to get to on the podcast. Wednesdays, we always go long, super long, because of Dear Meathead and whatnot. But I got more for you, including a little bit more about coronavirus. I don't have a ton new on that. And I got some audio I want to play for you. Really, Mike Tyson is struggling. Just a handful to deal with. I actually feel bad when I hear him upset. Who knew that the most feared man in the world would become this, what he is now? It's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. But some special care is needed for old Iron Mike. As you know, Blue Frost IT, the managed IT provider, service provider for the air. I screwed that whole damn thing up. The managed IT service provider for the Eric Zane Show podcast. I want you to call Alan or Ashlyn today at 616-200-8550. Typically, it's Ashlyn picking up the phone. Alan's out in the field. Boots on the ground, managed IT service provider. Now, they are number one in West Michigan for small and medium-sized businesses that want to incorporate an IT department but don't want to have like an in-house crew. A lot of businesses these days have an in-house person, okay? But small and medium-sized businesses, you can't afford that. So what you do is you pay Blue Frost IT to be the go-to when you get in the weeds, all right? That's how it works. If you're running a business and you don't have an IT person at your disposal, you're making a huge mistake. I'm so fortunate that they approached me because, like if this dried up today, if they suddenly said, we can't sponsor the show anymore or whatever, we don't like you anymore. I'm like, whatever. I would still use them as a managed IT service. Well, I wouldn't use them if they said they don't like me anymore. Let me take that back. Anyway, what I'm getting at is if you have computers, if you have IT, if you have a network, shit, you got to have this because all business stops if everything goes on the fritz. Call them 616-200-8550. Also, sponsor of the show, as you know, the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. They are awesome. Mario and his team want to get you into a mortgage. If you're paying rent, you don't need to do that. You might be like, I just can't get into a mortgage. I don't have the credit. You might be right. You might not, though. If you're right and you can't, my pal Mario is going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get into one. Get your shit together is what I'm telling you. Oh, no, I'll just sit here and pay rent to this piece of shit slumlord because, I'm lazy. Forget that. Call this guy today, Mario, 231-332-6505. This is how the conversation's going to go. Mario. Yeah, Zane told me to call. Okay, what's going on? Well, I pay rent and my mortgage is in my what do you call it? Credit score's in the dumper. Okay. All right. Well, I can help you. It might be in the dumper, but we need to take a look. So we're going to investigate. And you might be right. But if you are right, I'm going to teach you things, and you're going to do them so that we can improve your credit score. And then after you pay on that loan, which isn't going to be the best loan, but it's going to be a loan, and you're going to be owning your own home. Then after a couple of years of you behaving, your credit score is going to improve, and you get into a better loan. It's going to save you money. That's what he does, okay? Now, I'm not saying that that's all he does is people with shitty credit. But, you want the guy who can work magic with the shitty credit dude because it's going to be that much easier for you with the impeccable credit score. Van Dyke Mortgage is one of the most trusted names in mortgage lending, all right? 231-332-6505. That's Mario's number. Call him today. Quit screwing around. Yesterday, we played Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer trivia, and I can't tell you how much it was great. I had Dale sitting right over there. I had Jason Thierry sitting right here. Dale's kids, Hunter and Zach, were over here looking at their phones, doing kid stuff. They were helping Dale clean during the overnight. They're both young adults. But man, was this fun. Holy crap. It was like 40 minutes of just laughing at some of the worst answers ever. Let me just put this in front of you. One of the questions that was asked in Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer trivia was, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil the game for you. I made it free, by the way. You can check it out, both the video and the audio, on my Patreon. When you go to patreon.com/Eric Zane, it's unlocked. Anyone can enjoy it. Do it. Check it out. One of the questions was, which of the Great Lakes does not touch a border of Canada? Does not touch Canada in any way, shape, or form? Which of the Great Lakes? And that very easy question, considering I am in the room with two people from Michigan, that question was correctly answered, but it took a while. If I drove at 55 miles an hour to the west for about 18 minutes, I would drive into Lake Michigan. That's the answer. Dale lives in Muskegon. Well, I don't even think. You know what? I'm not even gonna say anything more about it because I would end up spoiling it. But they did get it right, but it was close. It was close. You got to watch this or listen to it. Coronavirus, we're getting dangerously close to 100,000 people infected. Did you know that very few kids have been infected? They're not sure why, but kids aren't victims of this. It's always adults. And the dying are people with underlying medical issues or elderly. In Washington State, a lot of the victims were at a nursing home. Some of all the places for it to infect. That is scary, scary shit. You're looking at worldwide, by the end of the day, there should be 100,000 people infected. We're in the ballpark of just over 3,000 people dead. Michigan does not have a reported case. I think about 20 U.S. states do have reported cases. Now I'm hearing a lot of people say, if you have no underlying health issues, you're going to be fine. You're not going to die. But the compromised immune systems, the elderly, this is where the trouble lies. China is no longer the fastest growing country. It's all these other places like Iran and Italy, the virus, like day by day, there are more reported cases in those places than there are in places like China. In Michigan, Dana Nessel is the attorney general. Nessel saw the Wood TV8 story about the guy in Allendale who owns the True Value hardware store. I don't know why I said it that way. Probably because I got choked. And if you recall, that guy, some whistleblower reached out to the TV station and said, yeah, this dude is opening up his 20-pack containers of those masks and putting them in a plastic Ziploc bag and selling them for $10 a piece. He's gouging people. Wood TV8 went there and said, yeah, I want to buy this thing. So they take it up there. They buy it for $10, and that's it. And then they confront the owner of the store. And he's like, oh, yeah, no. We're just doing that because people are buying these, and then they're selling them on eBay for higher prices. She goes, well, I don't get it. What do you mean? Well, yeah. what we do is we break up and we do this, and then you take it up to the counter and say, yeah, I want to buy this for the $10 price, and then they're only going to charge you a couple of bucks. Well, then Sample said, well, okay, but you don't know this, but I already bought this, and she did charge me $10. Oh, yeah, well, the cashier didn't get the email. So this dude's got all sorts of excuses. I don't believe him. Sure seemed like he was trying to gouge the shit out of everybody. Nestle, who's an ass kicker, she said, this is a warning. I was directed to a Wood TV8 story of a hardware store. It's this guy who's, his butthole, you couldn't get a pin up it right now because he's got the Attorney General from the state of Michigan bearing down on him saying, hey, fucker, don't gouge the public with your bullshit. That's a warning from the Attorney General from the state of Michigan. That's awesome. And by the way, if you don't know yet, those masks don't help you. They're there only for people who have coronavirus. That's who needs the masks. Because the shit is transmitted through what you cough out and sneeze out and booger out. You wipe your nose, you wipe it on a table, you cough in your hand, you touch a table, someone else touches the table, then they put it in their face. That's coronavirus. That's how you get it. Are we all on the same page here? You put your hand in spittle, you go onto your face, you have coronavirus. Don't touch your face and wash your hands. Not everywhere where this show isn't just heard in Michigan, obviously. There's little pockets and chunks of people here and there where there might actually be coronavirus. And I haven't even thought about that. So if you are in an area where it is, there's people in Chicago, people in New York who listen to the show. Not a lot, but some. Wash your damn hands and don't touch your face. And if you got it, for fuck's sake, stay in the house. Wear your dumb mask. All right, man. Some audio that I want to play for you. Mike Tyson. He has a podcast, which looks like I got to check that out. What the hell is it called? Boxing. I forget what the hell it is. Look up Mike Tyson podcast. He's there with another dude who kind of keeps it moving. And then Mike does his thing. I might be able to make it through an episode or two. He had boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard on just the other night, and this story's been making the rounds because in it Mike kind of came unglued, and I've heard there was a documentary about him that I saw some years ago that he had been through a lot at a young age. And then his mentor died. He was a trainer by the name of Cus D'Amato. And when that died, kind of Don King got his fingers into him and his claws into him, and that was kind of like the spiraling of Mike Tyson. But he grew up tough. When he grew up in New York, he was beating a lot of people up, committing a lot of crimes. Terrible things were happening to him. And this is what happens to a person when those types of things take place. Then when he developed the ability to beat the shit out of people, that you have this character that he calls the Annihilator. And that's what he used to be. And he has had this epiphany and this wake up, and he is more of a humble man now. But he indicated that can consume him. The bad side of Mike Tyson, like the Hulk or Dr. What is that? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I almost said Dr. Doom. That is a thing where it can, if he has to keep it in check, imagine how difficult that would be, living a life like that where, you're trying to be good and a normal person, as normal as you can be, and you have this horrible, imposing, intimidating being that can take you over at a moment's notice, and he's really shooken up in this 43-second clip where is Mike Tyson.
I know the art of fight. I know the art of war. That's all I ever studied. That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring. I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. Now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing. I'm working on being the art of humbleness. That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because if he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just, I hate that guy. I'm scared of him. That guy's kind of dead now. But that wasn't easy. That guy didn't want to leave. He wasn't leaving easy. He fought, screamed, and cried and scratched all the way till he died.
That's fucked up. When he says he's coming out and hell's coming with him, he means it. Him saying that he misses him? I don't know, maybe miss him and all that came with it. I mean, power, prestige, everybody adored him, you know? But there was a cost. Saying he feels like a bitch? He says, I'm nothing. So you know, and he's the only guy that feels that way. Because to me, you know, I look at it as a new level of respect for a person who turns their life around. Like when I sit here and talk with Dale, I look at those moments as I am lucky to be able to be in the presence of this man who is a man's man. He has owned up to his shortcomings and is trying to fix them. I would be disappointed if Mike Tyson did something not good, as I would be disappointed and sad if Dale did something not good. I wish I could tell a guy like Mike Tyson that you're even more respected and put on a higher pedestal because of your acknowledgement of your horribleness and that you are white-knuckling the fight to keep him at bay on a day-to-day basis. That's true living right there. At a point in time, you were a horrible, awful man, but somehow you've managed to turn your back to that bleakness and make something of yourself outside of boxing by using your brain and your words. That's exceptional to me. He has nothing to feel bad about. Finally, I don't know what the fuck this guy's doing. He seems like a pain in the ass. Spike Lee is bent out of shape because the New York Knicks, his beloved team, prefer that he use a different VIP entrance. I am not sure how this came to light. Who cares? Again, he's making a big deal because he doesn't like the door that he has to walk in to the venue. Okay, if I'm walking into Van Andel Arena, which is the back door that everybody goes in, Steve Yzerman to the trainers to the PA announcer, we all go in the same door. If they suddenly said, Zane, we want you to go in this door, you know what I say? Okay, sounds good. Spike Lee is flipping out because he's going into a different door. So much so that he's rushing to ESPN to explain himself and to bitch about how terribly he is being treated. The Knicks are even saying that the victim card being played by Spike is laughable. More on that in a second. But this is the clip from this pain-in-the-ass Spike Lee. I think he's talking with Stephen A. yesterday.
So at halftime, Dolan comes over to me and says, we need to talk. I said, talk about what? We need to talk. I said, Mr. Dolan, I don't want to talk about nothing. I've been coming through this entrance for 28 years. Plus, Wednesday, historic event, the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. To Kill a Mockingbird, where did I go in? The employee entrance. That was Wednesday. So if they want to change this whole new policy talk about, why not call me? I'm being harassed.
That they wanted. You just said you're being harassed?
Yes.
Are you going back to a Knicks game this year?
Not this year.
Are you considering?
No, I'm coming back next year, but I'm done for the season. I'm done.
What a little twat. Who sits there and gets that agitated over something so stupid? Statement from the New York Knicks. The idea that Spike Lee is a victim because we have repeatedly asked him to not use our employee entrance and instead use a dedicated VIP entrance. Okay, that wasn't included in the first description of what happened. He's going in the... They'd prefer that he not go in the employee entrance because he doesn't work there, and he go into the dedicated VIP entrance. That makes this even more idiotic. That this little idiot is expressing himself so harshly because he has to go into a different door, not where the employees go. Let me start over. The idea that Spike Lee is a victim because we have repeatedly asked him to not use our employee entrance and instead use a dedicated used by every other celebrity who enters Madison Square Garden is laughable. It's disappointing that Spike would create this false controversy to perpetuate drama. He is welcome to come to the Garden anytime via the VIP or general entrance, just not through the employee entrance, which is what he and Mr. Dolan agreed to last night when they shook hands. So then this little twat then rushes over to ESPN to bitch like that. What? God. Who sits there and gets that pissed off over stupid shit like that? Spike Lee does. So dumb. All right. Running out of time, folks. I got to go make sure that the princess has coffee in her cup. Make sure that everything's good with Jacqueline. I do have one more thing I want to stress to you, and that is if you are a person in Kent County or beyond, and this is National Nutrition Month, and the Kent County Health Department has an initiative I want to talk to you about. There are people that are listening right now that cannot buy food. The Kent County Health Department wants to make sure you can buy food for you and your family. Women, infant, children, WIC. You might be like, oh, man, I don't want to do that. I got pride. Bullshit. You need to plug into these programs that are there for you, designed for those that are a little bit with the not best scenario in terms of being able to feed your family. Kent County Health Department wants to make sure that you can feed your family. Do it, all right? Step up. Sucks. It's no fun. But if you or someone you know is down on their luck, you need to plug into these programs. They're there for you. That's why they're there. They're built for you. Utilize them. The number is 616-632-7200. The website, accesskent.com/WIC, W-I-C. Or go to ericzaneshow.com, click on the Kent County Health Department logo. It'll take you right to this page with frequently asked questions about how you qualify, how you take advantage of it. But do take advantage of it. Your kids shouldn't be hungry. Families should not be hungry. You need food. It's there for you. Thank you to the Kent County Health Department for giving me the opportunity to talk about something as serious as that by signing up to be part of this podcast. Boy, we got off to a weird-ass start today with that damn technical snafu. That was screwed up. But still, we made it. I appreciate that. I got T-shirts available at ericzaneshow.com. As you know, I got events coming up. First of all, you got the West Michigan Ironmen on Friday. I'll be there for that. You got Wayland coming up in April 24th. You got the Belgraph hockey game. These are all things you can take part in. As well, the show is not done. I've got more podcasting to do on Patreon a little bit later on. As we have said many, many times, thank you to all of you for being part of this show. I really appreciate you. You help keep things going. Thank you so much. Be on Patreon. If you want in, go to patreon.com/EricZane to get more podcasting. That keeps life injected into the Eric Zane Show podcast. For O'Neill, for Brucey, we'll talk to you down the road. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.